welcome to this afternoon's beer review, which I am going to dub Palaka Pumpkin, because I am wearing a Palaka shirt today. A little bit tired. Went and bought myself a Sawzall, using it to cut trees, and worked a bit, but I injured my arm somehow. I don't even know how I hurt it. It's just got a lump right now and kind of sore, but eh. So what are we reviewing? Well, we're kind of taking a break from reviewing local beers to review something that is, kind of, well, not this particular beer, because this is the first Elysian ale that I've ever had, Elysian beer. But pumpkin ale was basically the first craft beer I ever had. I don't even know, I can't even recall what the name or brand of the pumpkin ale I first had was called, but it kind of blew my mind that beer could be flavored any other thing besides skunk, water, and beer flavor. You know, there was those basic three flavors, because it sort of tasted like a rich gourd kind of flavor in the mouth, and it just kind of blew me away. And this was back in 2001, so over 15 years ago, kind of showing my age here, because I did buy that beer legally. And, well, pumpkin ale is actually the first craft beer that I tried, and it's also the first craft style that I kind of got tired of. I really got tired of drinking something that tasted like a overly heavy-bodied beer that somebody had used nutmeg and cinnamon in instead of hops. And this was the first pumpkin ale I've actually enjoyed, truly enjoyed in quite some time. It is not the holy grail of pumpkin ales, which is what I am looking for. I'm looking for something that's basically brewed only using pumpkin or squash, and kind of relies on that roasty, vegetal, gourdy flavors, as opposed to pumpkin pie spices as a backup. And I understand why a lot of them use pumpkin pie spices, because it's a lot easier to kind of go and evoke a pumpkin pie than it is to evoke pumpkin, which has a very subtle taste, and most people actually don't know the flavor of outside of pumpkin pie. I do, because kabocha squash is one of my favorite treats that I got into while I was in Japan. It's usually made in Thailand and Japan, and it's slightly sweet, but it also goes very well with savory kind of things. And it's very subtle flavor, so I can see why it'd be hard to work with. Now I'm kind of letting this warm up a little bit. This is Elysian Brewing Company, and this is Night Owl Pumpkin Ale. 6.7 ABV, kind of heavy side. Let's go and read the label, shall we? Night Owl Pumpkin Ale. Our original pumpkin ale, brewed with pumpkin, roasted in raw pumpkin seeds, and spiced in conditioning with nutmeg, clove, cinnamon, ginger, and allspice. So this is unfiltered, so I gotta go and try and pour it and leave the lees on the bottom, because I don't want too much of that. It doesn't taste. I find it. While I do drink it at the end, because I don't like to go and waste anything, I really don't. I find it kind of interferes with the flavor of the rest of the beer. So let's get to this, shall we? Got a new chicken right there. So if you hear peeping noises, that's him. He's been in and out all day. I asked him if he wanted to go and be a part of the review. He wanted to go outside and hang with the other chickens. Yeah, that's pretty good right there. Be on the conservative side. So, sort of an orange to copper opalescent with an off-white, thick off-white to beige head. Very much a spice smell. Cinnamon, big cinnamon. Cinnamon kind of overpowers the rest of it. You don't really even get much malt notes here. You just kind of get some sweetness that tells you that malts are there. But cinnamon, hints of nutmeg, allspice. It's pretty much the pumpkin pie spices, especially cinnamon. Don't really get the ginger, though. Let's get to the taste here. Now, despite it having a very, very heavy nose of pumpkin pie spices, this is the first pumpkin beer that I've had in a long time where it is pumpkin forward on the palate. Thick, vegetal, very round, almost creamy note in the front. In the mids, the spices kick in. The ginger that you don't really get in the nose kind of makes itself sort of known in the effervescent in the midst. And you end with sort of hoppy bitterness, some roastiness, malt roastiness, and lingering pumpkin pie spice in the long finish. It's definitely on the sweeter side, but it is nowhere near cloying. That's another flaw that a lot of pumpkin ales kind of have, is cloying sweetness, especially in the more stout versions of it. Stout or porter, basically darker beers that they make pumpkin ales out of. There is a difficulty, though. I don't know. It's probably just me, and that's a great difficulty of pumpkin ales, is that it fights itself. You either end up with a very syrupy kind of low-quality pumpkin pie in a glass, or a beer that has basically pumpkin pie spices in terms of hops. Or you end up with a pretty solid kind of pumpkin beer where it kind of has these sort of weird malty and hop notes to it. And yeah, it is kind of difficult to go and find that balance there. And this is probably the closest I've seen to finding that balance. It's hops just clash a tad. By no means is it like very new world resiny kind of things. It definitely feels like old world style hops. It's a tough thing, and this style is really tough, which is kind of surprising why so many breweries attempt at it. Now, like I said before, this is the best pumpkin ale I've had in a very, very long time. Years, literally. And, well, it's not pumpkin ale. I said pumpkin pie. It's the very best pumpkin ale I've had in years, literally. It is not a straight pumpkin ale, which is something I really, really want to go and see done and done well. It is one that's supposed to be evocative of pumpkin pie. It does that very well without coming across the syrupy, without failing at its mission. I think people who like pumpkin ales would find this one really good, if not desserty enough for them. What I like about it is that the pumpkin has pumpkin presence. And that maybe is off-putting to some people there, that sort of roasted vegetal kind of notes there. But you just cannot beat that mouthfeel that comes from, pumpkin. And so that's our review for today. A belated Halloween, early Thanksgiving beer review. Elysian Night Owl Pumpkin Ale. Pretty damn good pumpkin ale, well worth trying, I say. Especially since it's kind of hard to find pumpkin ales here in Hawaii anyhow. That's your review for tonight, folks. Cheers.